Paul Psolka, Ivy Masters Learning Center at ivymasters.com. And today we're going to look at the 11th question that was released for this new digital SAT for reading and writing. I ran out of fingers. I can't put 11 on my fingers. Text 1 reads, what factors influence the abundance of species in a given ecological community? Some theorists have argued that historical diversity is a major driver of how diverse an ecological community eventually becomes. So what's meant by that? First of all, abundance of species suggests diversity. Because they're different species, then it's different things, it's diverse. Second thing is, the point, historical diversity, what does that mean? It means that there are a bunch of different organisms living there, and there continues to be a bunch of different organisms living there. Then it goes on after the colon to say, differences in community diversity across otherwise similar habitats in this view are strongly affected by the number of species living in those habitats at earlier times. So basically, you take two similar habitats. If there's a lot of diversity earlier in one habitat, there's going to continue to be a lot of diversity. If there's not much diversity earlier, then there's continued to be not much diversity. Let's see what text 2 says. Now, from this current SAT, what you may know is that these passages tend to disagree with each other. Let's see if this continues with this new digital SAT. Text 2 says, in 2010, a group of researchers, including biologist Carla Caceres, created artificial pools in a New York forest. They stocked some pools with a diverse mix of zooplankton species and others with a single zooplankton species and allowed the pool communities to develop naturally thereafter. Over the course of 4 years, Caceres and colleagues periodically measured the species diversity of the pools, finding, contrary to their expectations, that by the end of the study there was little to no diversity in pool species diversity. So to recap, I have two different pools. They only put one type of zooplankton in one. They put a bunch of different types of zooplankton in the other. They're expecting, and it sounds like they buy into text 1, which says if there was diversity before, there will continue to be diversity. But what they find, and it says contrary to their expectations between the dashes there. So they didn't expect that they're going to have the same diversity in both pools, but that is what winds up happening. It's contrary to text 1. Question says, based on the text, how would Caceres and colleagues text 2 most likely describe the views of the theorists presented in test 1? And it calls them theorists in test 1. And what you're going to see is that a number of the answer choices say researchers. There's no researchers mentioned in text 1. There's no research being done. There's just theory. Answer is A. It is largely correct. So what would passage 2, text 2 say about text 1? It is largely correct right there. Stop. It's not largely correct. It would not say that. But it requires a minor refinement in light of the research team results. No, not minor refinement. It flies in the face of the theorists. It's opposite of what the theorists were thinking. Answer is B. It is not compelling as a theory regardless of any experimental data collected by the research team. This is how the College Board screws you up. It is not compelling as a theory. Looks great. Make sure you pay attention to the entire answer choice. Half of the answer choice could make it wrong. One word in the answer choice could make it wrong. I've even seen one letter in the answer choice make it wrong. And then it says, regardless of any experimental data collected by the research team. There was no experimental data collected by the research team in passage 1. There are no researchers, just theorists. B is gone. Answer choice C. It may seem plausible. Yeah, notice in the end, again, it says contrary to their expectations. So they're expecting, it seems plausible. Plausible means reasonable, that if there was diversity before, there would continue to be diversity. And then answer choice C goes on to say, but it is not supported by the research team's findings. Yeah, the research team finds that if there was no diversity, you wind up with the same diversity as you had in a diverse pool of zooplankton. Looks like C is going to be our correct answer. We want to read answer choice D before we choose. I know we just circled it, but answer choice D, it probably holds true only in conditions like those in the research team's study. No, there's nothing to suggest in text 2 that it was only in this specific case. It's because we used zooplankton and we didn't use like bigger species or something like that. Correct answer here is C. Thank you for joining us today. If you like this video, click like. You could share it with someone who has difficulty with paired passage questions. So any question you'd like to see answered from any official PSAT or SAT or ACT, leave that in the comments. I'd be happy to shoot a video on it. Click subscribe so you don't miss anything, and check out our 1-minute video on TikTok. Have a great day.